All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Administrative Services Committee meeting. Our first item is approval of minutes from April's meeting.
Also move.
I'll second.
Motion, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Privilege of the floor. Is there anybody here to speak to us? Seeing no one, we will close the privilege of the floor. Okay, the first item is a local law, intro 325, local law continuing an additional mortgage tax. This is something that we do, we renew it, and we are renewing it. There was a little bit of talk about the dates, so we're gonna get some help with that.
Sorry, I'm a little slow. Hello, everyone. Anna Morgan, County Attorney. If you guys take a look at the local law, paragraph 4, where it says effective date, it's a little weird. It says that the local law shall take effect on August 1st, not immediately, and then it will be in effect until April 30th, 2028. This is relatively unusual. I'm here to tell you that it's because the state has very rigid and very unusual filing requirements, how this particular local law is being filed with the state. So this is something we have to anticipate 2-3 months ahead, which is why we're meeting now in May for August 8th. You will see after the initial period here, which is 3 years, we'll also have to move our filing then probably to January or February. So this is something that the parliamentarian, Mr. Abdallah, and I discussed. I just wanted to clarify this is not a mistake and it just needs to be like this. Any questions?
Any questions?
None.
Seeing none,
All set?
thank you.
Sure.
All right. Item number 2. Resolution, authorized lease agreement with Jamestown Rental Properties LLC for office space for Jamestown DMV. And actually, everybody was here.
I'd be more than happy to share it again if you'd like. Josh Rothwell,
Well, you did a great job, so I don't
Assistant
wanna say
Deputy
no.
Director of Public Facilities, Buildings and Grounds. This resolution again is to just continue the same lease that we currently have with Jamestown Rental Properties for our Jamestown DMV location. The numbers are all the same, the money stays the same, the building's the same. Again, it's another 4% per year increase, which equates to $2,107.64 this year. And it gives us the opportunity, if we so choose, to hop out of that agreement in 2 years or to continue on, depending on where we're at that time.
Well said. Any questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none? All in favor? Or, yeah, I guess we gotta vote. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye, Josh. I'm staying. Goodbye.
Alrighty. Our next resolution, authorized payment of $132,500 for settlement of claim of the estate of Gregory Galloway.
Hello again, Anna Morgan, County Attorney. I am here with this resolution today, asking that a payment of $132,500 be approved as part of the final settlement in a case where the county and other defendants were sued by the estate of Gregory Galloway. Mr. Galloway was an inmate in our jail who unfortunately passed in our jail in 2019. There was a long process of discovery, of expert witnesses looking into the case. He was sent to to the Chautauqua County Jail by the Dunkirk City Court. So Dunkirk City Court was also named as the defendant, after a lot of back and forth and a lot of looking into the case, and on advice of our insurance carrier, for our, liability. We decided that this amount would be an appropriate amount to settle it. Now, I do want to clarify something. The full settlement amount is $170,000. The difference between that amount and $132,500 is something that the city of Dunkirk is going to pay as a co-defendant. And then on top of that, although we're asking you to authorize a relatively high amount, our insurance carrier, Nymir, is giving us a green light that they will cover half of this. So it will only, the county will only directly pay $66,250 per our policy, per our deductible. Mr. Todd Thomas, before he left the legal office, has worked on this very extensively. I have reviewed all of his notes. I have reviewed the file. I am in agreement that this is the best approach so far. And I'm gonna stop here, not to get into the things that may be protected by attorney-client privilege or sensitive in this area. But if you have any questions about the numbers, please let me know so we can discuss.
I'll just encourage everybody, I've been through a few of these, that it's the recommendation of the legal, that this is how we proceed. We don't need to know all the particulars. We're not assuming they've been handled, they have been handled, and I'm just, for what that's worth, we're just making a decision here.
Yes. Yes.
We're making our decision.
Yes, yes, and the
How's
reason
that?
we're here now, because there is a proceeding in our circuits court in Chautauqua County, and the judge instructed us to come back with some sort of guarantee that the county will pay the full amount, not expecting us to pay the full amount, but we are the defendant in this case, so we went with the resolution.
I personally am going to vote in favor of this with the legal is recommended, so. That being said, anybody, anything?
I have a question, just a simple one, and I totally understand and appreciate what you're saying there. But in the paragraph talking about the second one there, with the remaining half of the settlement sum expected to be paid by the county's insurance carrier, reading that, I didn't know how sure that word expected was. I think your opening gave me.
I am pretty confident.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
We're in
yes.
writing with all that, and,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, we have a very good working relationship with them. We're in
Okay.
touch with them constantly. More or less every lawsuit that we get against the county is immediately given to them, goes to them. And then there's different types of obviously legal petitions and legal requests that are being made to the county. Some are covered in full, others are with a deductible. In this case, it's 50%.
Okay.
So that's
And I'm assuming they're waiting to see what the
Yes.
county's going to do on,
Yes.
then on, okay.
However,
okay.
just please note that this settlement was discussed in detail with them at the table as
Okay,
well. So they're aware
understood.
of the
Yep,
numbers, yeah.
Okay, that's the only question I had. Thank you very
Sure.
much.
Anything else? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Item number 4, proposed resolution setting transportation stipend in Chautauqua County coroners. There was a request to have this pulled from this month's meeting, and we will honor that request, so
Okay.
we will be moving on to number 5. Number 5, proposed resolution, distribution of mortgage taxes. I think we've all seen this before. So we're all veterans, Kitty, but anything you can add?
Yes, so, this is just our normal distribution back to the municipalities of the mortgage tax that's collected. Year over year, we are up slightly year to date this, through March, I should say. The timeline for these is slightly different than our calendar year, but just as an aside, our receipts through March are up year over year.
was expecting to hear from Chairman Shagnon.
Oh, you will. So comparing this to the to the previous 6 months that we approved, it's down 17%.
Okay, I was just looking at January to March, year
Sure.
over year.
And comparing this to the same period last year, it's down 21%.
Just looking at the resolution,
Yes.
yeah, I was just talking about the quarters that the distribution is based on maybe are different, I
Different
believe,
than
than the
what you're looking
calendar
at.
quarter, yeah.
Yes. Yep.
All right. So we need to sell more properties.
Well, as you may recall, like during the couple years, during COVID, we saw a significant uptick in mortgage tax receipts. But that has started to fall back down to the pre-COVID levels, so, we have seen a decrease in these revenues over the last couple of years.
A lot less refinancing going on with the interest rates being up.
Well, there was a definite feeling that had peaked a couple years ago, so. All right, everybody understand what's going on there? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item number 6, proposed resolution amend to 2024 budget for year-end reconciliations, various general fund departments.
This and the next two resolutions are just our final cleanup of 2024 year-end results. So there were just kind of some random adjustments that just didn't make it into the previous year-end resolution. So this just kind of cleans up everything in the general
Didn't
fund.
we hear final before?
Well, you didn't hear final. You said the final. I did double check a couple of times. Our auditors are coming, I think, next week, so Todd's already submitted the report to the state, so unless the auditors change anything, there should not be any other adjustments.
And that's final.
So
Okay.
I could, there was a late entry adjustment to finance contractual, and that's offset by an underrun in employee benefits and the real property tax division. Emergency services, there was an ambulance purchased with intercept fees, so you'll see that offsetting revenue down below. Transfer to capital, that was related to some ARPA project transfers that we had to record at year end, and then just a $27 adjustment among classifications and social services. That doesn't fall under the executive transfer policy because you're moving from one department account to another, 6010 to 6101.
Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 7, amend 2024 budget for year-end reconciliations, various enterprise fund departments.
Again, these were a variety of entries that were done later in the process for year end. They are all balancing out just some of the bigger ones to note. So in the ESP fund, that's Portland, Pomfret, Dunkirk Sewer District, there was a shared vehicle entry, that a vehicle purchase was shared with another county department, and so that was entered. They did have and that had to be recorded, and we had to do an additional entry of the interfund transfer, so that offset is in their contractual cost. Depreciation entered for the water district, the 95,000. They did have, among a few other closing costs related to the ban that we issued at the end of the year, they did have sufficient departmental income to offset those costs.
What were the costs, Kitty?
For
Water district?
the debt service, the ban that we had to issue, the closing costs.
Okay.
Questions, comments, concerns? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And now for the final. 2024 year-end reconciliation, workers' compensation fund.
So we have an actuary who does our, we call it IBNR, incurred but not reported, liability calculation. And so when that was booked, that resulted in an increase, of about 1.8 million to our long-term liability. And, we did have some revenues that we were able to offset that expense other than 675,000, which, will be an adjustment to the MS fund balance.
Any questions, comments, concern about the final 2024 reconciliation for 2024? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
I feel like I should hit the gavel. All right, under other, we have a local law intro 425, residency requirements for assistant attorneys' titles in Chautauqua County government. You can't say it's me again into the microphone.
Fair. Hello, Anna Morgan, County Attorney, with Peter Larson, Social Services Attorney. So we're here today about the local law that would basically lift the residency requirement for our assistant attorneys. Right now, the rule that has had some of the exceptions and workarounds before in the county basically says if you want to be employed by the county as an assistant attorney, you should live in the county. There are some exceptions. There was a patchwork of kind of things we looked into. We weren't sure if this was something that the other departments would be interested in until we discussed it with the district attorney. We discussed it with social services, my own office, and the public defender. We're here because we have issues finding and retaining attorneys. And in the recent month and a half, we have been approached by attorneys who are more than willing to practice in Chautauqua County, yet they reside in Erie County. When asked if they're willing to, relocate, very politely asked if they were willing to relocate, they indicated that that's not something that they're looking into right now. They are younger attorneys who, some of them still live with their parents, others still have a community in Erie County that they want to stay with for now. And it was the opinion of the county attorney, social services, and the district attorney that our request to have them reside here at this point is counterproductive and it's unnecessary. However, as you can see from the proposed local law, it's not a blanket waiver. We have discussed this back and forth. We have decided that we're waiving the residency requirement in this proposed local law only for those attorneys who, first of all, need to live in the state of New York, so this does not apply to anyone living across the border in Pennsylvania or anywhere else. And second of all, it only applies to 2 counties that are adjoining to Chautauqua County. So we're not looking to hire someone from New York City or someone from Rochester. Those people would need to relocate closer, but we are shooting for Cattaraugus County, for Erie County, where everyday travel is something that's doable. At the same time, just to kind of add an extra layer of protection here, if any of our departments were to hire an assistant attorney, whether assistant, first assistant, second assistant, whatever the rank is, they will not be designated by the head of legal departments, so by me, by district attorney, by the public defender, as people who step in and act on our behalf. Right now, for example, I have a first assistant, and I'm looking to now name a second one. Those two people do reside in the county, and they will be designated by my designation that in case I am unable, I disappear, I'm not here, I'm not in the county or in the state, they can act as acting county attorneys. Very similar how I do for the county executive. When he's out of the county, I then become the acting county executive. We don't know how long we need this for. We don't know exactly how successful it's going to be, but it is one less barrier to deal with. And now that we have people approaching us who do live in Erie County, we think this is a good way to go, especially because my office, as well as social services to a certain degree, have had issues finding attorneys and filling positions. It's a little less problematic for the public defender and the district attorney, but I think they would welcome this change as well. Questions?
I don't like the lead, but,
Sure, Ben.
so we do know of potential
Yes.
candidates.
We do. We do.
Doing this will,
Yes, first of all, we do have concrete candidates already, but I think that generally going forward, I think the idea is to recruit as many University of Buffalo students that right now we're having issues, they don't want to leave their area where their parents are, where their, boyfriend, girlfriend is, especially if they're younger attorneys. And that's something that if they're willing to drive 45 minutes or 60 minutes to get to work, I'm okay with that.
that was my next
God
question.
bless.
There's no
Right.
difference if you live in Mayville and you come here to work, or you live in Buffalo and you come here to work, the responsibility is still of the individual to get to work, right?
Correct.
We don't-
Other than, that individual will never be an acting county attorney or an acting
But I
public
mean, we don't
defender.
pay mileage or anything for them to get to work.
No, they need to report to work, just like the rest of us, correct. Whether you're coming from Jamestown, Mayville, or Cheektowaga, it doesn't make any difference, so no. It does not cost us any money, and it kind of expands the pool of the candidates that might be willing to come down.
Well, we'll get them working here and then we'll sell them on Chautauqua County.
Correct, but we
then
first
we'll
gotta
increase
get
our
them in,
mortgage
yes,
prices.
yes, that's correct. And then we'll start with the whole, where they can buy a home and where they wanna live, how cheap it is, how beautiful it is, yes, all
And it's
that,
totally understandable, somebody just graduating,
Yes.
passing the bar,
yes,
you've got, like you said, your community, your family.
Yes.
Your favorite bedroom in the basement of your parents.
They've got
and
no
you're probably
money.
broke and you don't have any money to buy a house right now.
Yeah.
But give them a year or two and, that may change, so that was kinda our thinking, so.
And I'll say from our office's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
both social services and county law, we were extremely fortunate
Mm-hmm.
that we had two young candidates who were from here and were returning one from Ohio, one from New York City area,
Mm-hmm.
after having practiced there for a short time. But that was a stroke of luck. They happened to be Chautauqua County natives and were coming home. But other than that, if you look out into the legal community, there are very few new attorneys to the area coming in here. We're having a hard time attracting talent.
Well, and I think a benefit to seeking a newly graduate is you find a lifelong career
Yes,
and build it here.
especially if they have an extra interest in working for our county because of the student loan forgiveness program after 10 years. Yes, 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 and a lot of graduates obviously do have some amount of student loans. So this is something that we always emphasize as a benefit, but it's also, it's a way different world living and, working in Chautauqua County than it is in Erie County. Erie County is fast-paced, Erie County is big, Erie County has a lot of attorneys, there's not a whole lot of personal connections. If they can do that and drive or do whatever they want and come to work every day and be a part of our community, that'd be great. I can also tell you that one of the two candidates that have approached me is already working in Chautauqua County. So they are traveling already, but they work in Jamestown, so this would actually be better for them because they wouldn't have to drive as much. So that's kind of the rationale behind it, and we hope it helps, it makes a difference, because we are really, really struggling to get people.
Is this standard in New York State?
Yes and no. Some counties opt out to, if they can afford it, if they're big enough, if they have enough of the population to fill them, they just say, you know what, if you want to make money and gain a salary in this county, then you better live here and spend it here, which has a certain, you know, logic behind it. Other counties did what we did and said, you know what, we are going to say that the specialized law of the state of New York that says that they should be residents of the county is not something that's going to apply to us because of the similar reasons we just can't find retention. You have other kind of half measures that say, well, you know, the head of departments need to live here. For example, the New York state law does not even address the assistant attorneys. It just says that the county attorney needs to be a resident. And then they kind of play this game of, are you really acting on my behalf or not? It's like a legal interpretation and a legal analysis. If I'm putting you in a position where you're doing work and you're not coming out towards third parties or the public and saying, I am now the acting county attorney, or I speak on behalf of Anna, then you're safe. The moment you are in some sort of supervisory role or a little more serious role, they kind of go either way. I'll be quite honest with you, I think I talked to Cat County, because a county attorney and the first assistant are friends of mine. They did not have the need to do that, but their office is very little. So they have, I think, total 5 attorneys or something that covers both county attorney and social services. We are bigger in that regard, so as they can fill their needs, we cannot. I don't know what Erie County does. I would be really interested to know, but somehow I don't think they have problem filling their positions either. So it can kind of go either way.
Okay, I appreciate that. And then that just leads me to my next and last question. You mentioned at the top there was a lot of discussion going on about this. What downsides came out in those discussions with going with something like this? Any at all?
Other than what I just said, I mean,
Yeah.
we're kind of,
Are they going to show up? I certainly, they're commuting. I get,
but that's their problem.
Yeah, you're
That's not
exactly
the
right.
county problem.
Yeah.
What I don't want this to turn into, and this is something that I think when we're hiring in our process of interviewing, we need to be careful. We don't want to exclude attorneys who are here local. Like that is not the point of this. I think they should all be on the very even level playing field to get the job. Do I appreciate somebody living here? Yes, of course I do. We are a very tight bar, we're a very small community, and we work together with 10, 15, 20 attorneys who practice in Mayville. We want to bring people inside that circle, not exclude them. So even if it's not our 2 departments that are, selecting a Chautauqua County candidate or, let's say, Erie County candidate, we always do make recommendations to other legal departments. PD is always looking, district attorney is always looking, we try to find them a spot. At this point, I just want to basically expand the pool so that there's more than 1 or 2, maybe if we're lucky, applications that we get when we open positions, so.
thank you.
Now, did you say that if they're from Erie County, that they cannot be your assistant, though? Or they could not stand in your role if you're out of
Right.
county?
They can work as an assistant county attorney, but they cannot be the acting county attorney.
So,
Because
and
that's a
that,
separate designation.
That's how the local law is written too. So the local law has 2 stipulations. It says they need to be from an adjoining county, and if you take a look after that, it says they cannot be designated by the department head, the top legal person, to do their job, to act on their behalf.
which you said you have one now that's
I have
designated?
Kristen right now, Miss Kristen Wright, who is
Yep.
my first assistant, and we are looking to promote from within to a second assistant as well.
Okay. Well-
So those are at least 2, and then there are others, obviously, who do
So
reside in the county.
I would think that's enough of an incentive as a younger person to think if I want to climb higher on the success ladder here in the county, then I need
Correct.
to invest in a house and,
Correct.
Go on.
And that's something that's going to be very clearly set to them. So if you are looking for a promotion, if you are looking to someday maybe even leave the county, start making plans to move over here.
and I think that's absolutely fair.
Right, but without any, pressure that may be too much or inappropriate or whatever, it's just these are the requirements you do that without what you see fit, right?
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
think the way we've structured things, if you have a numbered assistant position, you typically have to have that designation
Yes.
as well. So,
Yes.
just like as you were saying, that is the incentive.
Correct.
You want to move up.
Yes, you want a better title, you want more money, you want, supervisory powers, whatever, you're gonna have to buy a house here.
Yeah.
But without saying it,
Abruptly.
very openly, right? So that's kind of
That's what they
the
told me
rough
when I
plan.
ran for this job.
I'm sorry?
So that's what they told me when I ran for this job.
Did they?
I had to have a house here.
Oh, dare they, right? Yes.
We even have to live in our district.
I know.
Yes, it's, yes, yes.
Well, I think there's a definite need, and this seems like a step in the right direction to solving
Sure,
some of the problem, so,
thank you,
yeah. Everybody good?
We're good.
All right, thank you very much.
thank you.
All right, that's our other. I don't have anything else. Does anybody else have anything else?
Nothing.
I don't know.
Hearing none. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
We're adjourned.
Aye.
You did that. You did that. Well, I dropped one.
That's true. Something pulled that, that's a good 20-minute item right there. Yeah.